Hello everyone, this is Shadowstorm64, and today I will bring you the long-awaited Dragon Ball Super Broly review. If you remember, I made a previous video on how this movie was overrated. So now, we will see if this movie lived up to the hype. Before I get to the movie itself, I have some things I have to get out the way first. The animation in the movie is excellent, and the music is great. The fight scenes were fluid and well executed. And with that said, let's get into the plot. The movie starts out with Frieza and King Cold showing up on planet Vegeta. The movie retcons the idea that Frieza oppressed the Saiyans for decades, instead having him inherit the planet from his father. This change isn't necessarily bad, but it was no improvement. Also, for some reason, Frieza seems to be a kid when he took over, which makes him seem way less intimidating than the tyrant he was in the original canon. Then we go to King Vegeta hyping up his son as the strongest Saiyan, only to find out Broly is stronger, which is exactly the same thing as the original Broly movie. Which is also apparent in the next scene when King Vegeta tries to get rid of Broly. The scene was done better in the original Broly movie in my opinion, because it just seemed smarter when King Vegeta tried to straight up execute Paragus and Broly rather than just sending him away to a remote planet. Saiyans are known to be resilient and able to survive harsh conditions. Especially with his high power level, there was no way Broly would not survive on that planet, which we see later that he does with ease. Paragus then runs off to save Broly alongside a Saiyan named Beats, and King Vegeta does nothing at all to stop him. Then we get to planet Vampa, the planet Broly has been sent to, and Broly managed to survive by killing it and eating the giant spider creatures on the planet. But for some reason, because of their stupid crash landing, the ship is destroyed, stranding them on the planet, forcing the Saiyans to live on the harsh planet. With the exception of Beats, however, because he gets killed by Paragus. Then we fast forward to Bardock returning to planet Vegeta. One thing I don't like about the new Bardock is his design. They got rid of his signature green armor and a red headband that made him look like Space Rambo. His new look inspires from the appearance he had in the Dragon Ball Minus manga, which is basically, it turns Goku's origin into a Superman clone even more so than it was originally. Frieza's plan to kill the Saiyans is actually expanded upon in this movie, as he didn't just blow up the planet one day out of nowhere, but after his paranoia of the Super Saiyan legend, as well as the Saiyans growing in numbers and in power. He ordered all Saiyans to return to planet Vegeta so he could kill them all in one attack, with the exception of a few Saiyans that he spared or forgot about. This explains why most of the Saiyans are gone now, since we know Saiyans travel to other planets all the time. But then again, new Saiyans get introduced all the time, so this probably doesn't matter. Anyway, Bardock comes back home and we get to meet Goku's mother for the first time on screen. And somehow he is the only Saiyan on the planet that suspects Frieza is going to kill them. In the Dragon Ball Z movie, Bardock, the father of Goku, Bardock was the only Saiyan who knew of this because he was given the ability to see into the future. Without it, he would have been just as arrogant and clueless as the rest of the Saiyans. But here, they make him smarter than all the other Saiyans, so he's basically Jor-El from DC Comics. So anyway, Bardock and Jine send Goku to Earth, and the movie tries to make this moment emotional. Which doesn't make sense, considering Saiyans are supposed to be nigh heartless warriors who only care about power and battle. That was the whole point in Vegeta's character development, to learn humility. Furthermore, it's dumb to try and build sympathy for the Saiyans, since they are a race that travels to planet to conquer them and sell them to the highest bidder. The Saiyan race isn't supposed to get any sympathy. Like I said before, Bardock was handled better in his original movie. The whole point of him getting that psychic ability was to see into the future. It was for revenge. So he would see that the same thing the Saiyans did to other worlds would soon happen to him. It was irony. That's why Bardock's last words was Kakarot. Not because he cared about his son. Saiyans don't give a shit about their kids. He only smiled at his death because he knew Goku would kill Frieza and thus the cycle would be complete. The Saiyans got what they deserved, but in time, so would Frieza. But anyway, Frieza blows up the planet, and for some reason all the Saiyans other than Bardock just stand there and accept it and watch it instead of going down in a blaze of glory like Barda. Also, this movie failed to respect its own continuity. Remember in Dragon Ball when Whis made that random, unnecessary comment that Beerus ordered Frieza to blow up Planet Vegeta? This was the perfect time to show and explore this further, but they didn't even touch on it. This is why the God characters suck. Anyways, the movie gets to Earth and Goku and Vegeta training as always, but then it is revealed that Frieza stole the Dragon Balls from Bulma, basically repeating the same plot from the Resurrection of Frieza movie. It turns out that Frieza doesn't want the Dragon Balls to be immortal or to have more power, but so he can be taller. His reasoning for not wanting to become immortal is because he spent a nigh eternity in a cocoon that traumatized him. But that makes no sense, because if he becomes immortal, he will never die, and he will never have to go into that cocoon ever again. Plus, he won't be able to die like he did 100 times already. Him wishing to be taller is an unfunny joke of a wish that a serious character like Frieza should not even think of making. That's a wish someone would make in Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Super. Anyway, two of Frieza's minions, Chilai and the other guy, I forgot his name, find Broly and Paragus on planet Vampa. They bring them to Frieza. Despite hating Saiyans, he accepts them with ease. And Paragus trusts Frieza with ease as well, even though he was just as bad, if not worse, to the Saiyans as a leader than King Vegeta. And somehow, Paragus built a taser device around Broly's neck along with a working remote when they were stuck on a barren wasteland of a planet with no technology beside their broken ship. In the original Broly movie, he forced an alien he enslaved to build the restraining device for him, which made way more sense. Anyway, Chilai breaks the device, so Broly has nothing holding him back. For some reason, Chilai likes Broly despite being a criminal who stole from the Galactic Patrol and working for Frieza, who blows up planets for fun. And also Broly was acting like a discount Tarzan for the whole time, so the whole friendship felt one-sided and forced. One thing I will say is that I appreciate that they tried, keyword tried, to give Broly more to his character by having him talk about that green thing that was his friend on planet Vampa. But it's also better than Goku crying next to him as a baby. But then again, the bar for Broly's backstory was never that high. Anyways, Frieza plans to use Broly against both Goku and Vegeta, despite Broly being way weaker than them both. After locating the final Dragon Ball, Frieza comes to Earth, and Goku and Vegeta are there waiting. This time, Broly and Paragus have a hatred for Vegeta, which makes more sense instead of Goku. So that's a plus. Broly charges up and starts to fight Vegeta, but of course Vegeta beats his ass. But unfortunately, this is where the movie starts to fall into the power creep shit show. What does Toriyama do when he needs someone to be a threat to Goku and Vegeta when otherwise there would be no match? Have them get stronger as they fight! I know the original Broly was like this too, but here the power gap is far too wide for it to be believable. Plus, the original Broly was strong from the beginning. But anyways, sooner into the fight, Goku tags into the fight and again beats Broly's ass. He stops the fight for a moment to tell Broly that he doesn't think he's a bad guy, which he contradicts later. Anyway, the fight escalates until Broly powers up again, which somehow turns the tides. Fast forwarding, Broly starts to get his ass beat again. Then Frieza gets the smart idea to turn Broly into a Super Saiyan, which totally went well for him before. He kills Paragus and puts on the dumbest act of the century, telling Broly that a stray energy blast killed him. Like this is the hood. And then Broly goes into insta berserk with no build up. And again, like I said before, the Saiyans are not sympathetic characters. Paragus never ever showed he cared for Broly other than using him as a tool for revenge. And Broly rarely shows emotion in this whole movie other than rage. So how are we as viewers supposed to believe he cared enough about Paragus to get that mad? Shitty writing. Anyway, Broly finally becomes the legendary Super Saiyan, or in this version, Full Power Super Saiyan, which is a shittier name. Goku and Vegeta team up as always, and there's a dumb CGI scene of Goku and Vegeta doing a Gallic Kamehameha combo which looked out of place as hell. After getting their ass beat, Goku instant transmissions himself and Vegeta away to Piccolo, who for some reason is just standing and sitting on his ass instead of helping like in the original Broly movie. But you know, if you aren't a Saiyan in Dragon Ball Super, you can't do shit against the main villain. This moment in the movie took me out of the tension altogether. They teleported to safety with Broly too blinded by rage and beating up Frieza to care or follow. They could have literally just sat down and let Broly kill Frieza and the whole movie could have just ended with that. But instead they waste a whole hour to do the fusion dance before returning to the fight. In the movie Fusion Reborn, when Pikkon stalled for Goku and Vegeta, it had tension because we knew Pikkon stood no chance against Janemba, and plus Goku and Vegeta were only about 30 feet away from the fight. But here they are safely on the other side of the planet. So basically they fuse as Gogeta and arrive to beat up Broly. Broly stands absolutely no chance, and Gogeta once again proves that he is the best fusion because he gets shit done. There is also an unnecessary scene which took me out of the fight completely and the movie again, when Gogeta and Broly broke the dimensional barrier and started fighting in another dimension for no reason. I can already see all these shitty power scarers making videos as we speak, like, oh, Gogeta is stronger than we think, or oh, Gogeta is super mega ultra hyperversal, but the writing is still shit. But anyways, remember before when Goku said he thinks Broly is such a good person deep down? Well, he certainly didn't think so here, because as Gogeta, he was charging up full power Kamehameha to disintegrate the shit out of Broly. But then Chilai makes a wish and sends Broly back to his crusty, rusty, dusty, musty planet, and the fight ends. Later, Goku arrives to give Broly a house and food in capsules, while trying to act like his friend despite the fact that he was literally like 2 seconds away from murdering him as Gogeta, but whatever. I guess they forgot about that. And then he says the dumbest line he has ever said in Dragon Ball history. He tells Broly he can call him Kakarot. That was out of character and shit, and it was forced and it made no sense. Fake character development at its finest. With that said, I've given my thoughts on the plot of this movie. I still think this movie is overrated. It was better than I thought. It was definitely better than Battle of Gods and this Resurrection of F. But it is far from the best Dragon Ball movie of all time. I believe that the best movie was Barda, the father of Goku, and this probably doesn't count as a movie, but History of Trunks was also better. Animation wise, this is some of Toei's best work, but as an analyst, story holds more substance when it comes to the overall quality, and this movie was decent at best. Even if this movie was the greatest Dragon Ball movie, the bar was never, ever set that high to begin with. I've seen some people saying that this was the best anime movie of all time, and I have to say they must be smoking weed. This movie was better than all the other Broly movies, but nothing else and nothing more. That's all the praise it gets from me. Otherwise, this movie had fake tension, poor development, and a shit plot. plot. If I had to rate this shit out of 10, I'll give this movie a 6 out of 10, which is one more point than I gave Dragon Ball Super. If you want some cool looking fights and flashy colors, this movie is great for you. But if you dare say that this movie is the greatest story of all time, the greatest Dragon Ball story of all time, then you have shit taste, and you need to toss yourself into a hypermassive black hole with a frag grenade shoved up your ass. This is Shoutstorm64, and I will see you next video.